The show is still Good Morning Anambra right here on ABS TV. My name is Chidima Orangma. Okay, this morning we'll be looking at the topic reviewing President Buhari's speech on Naira swap. Or we all know we listened or we watched or we read the president addressing the nation yesterday, where he was sympathizing with the citizens of the country over the difficulties they have experienced so far in this monetary policy, the cash swap, the transition from the use of the old Naira notes to the new Naira notes. And he made a lot of points yesterday, listing out some of the things that actually, made them to bring out this redesigning of a new Naira note. And he later said that for Nigerians to be eased of some pressure, that the old new 200 Naira notes will be brought back into circulation to circulate with the new 200 Naira notes, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes till the 10th of April. That is after 60 days. So today we'll be, looking at that speech and, touching so many things and, looking from where we agree with the president, because a whole lot of people said that they really don't agree with the president. So we analyze it and know whether the president got it right. Those people saying that he didn't get it right, what actually are the questions they have been raising. All this we are going to be looking at the course of our program this morning. And with us in the studio as a guest is Ichie Mike Odumudu. Ichie Mike Odumudu is a financial expert. We welcome you to Good Morning Anambra.
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers.
Okay, I know you watched the speech or you read the speech of President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday over what we are passing through from the transition of, the use of old Naira notes and now the new Naira notes. And also what we have been experiencing the scarcity of the new notes for some time now, and there have been a lot of pressure on both the banks, the customers and all that. And we have also seen places where the angry customers, had to go to bank to destroy some of those banks in cities like Bini and all that. So what do you make out of that president's speech yesterday?
Thank you very much. Yes, I think the president has seen what is happening, the scarcity and the sufferings of the people. So possibly he had no other option other than to come and talk to the people, to make that speech. But in making that speech, it does not solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem we are passing through. Because after saying all he said and, all that, and he only said that the old 200 Naira note will be circulating with the new Naira notes, which is not enough. As at yesterday, many of the banks don't have those the old 200 Naira notes, and that is why if you if you go to the streets now, everywhere is so scarce. There is no money. People can't even have money to enter bike or keke or bus. It's as hard as that. I was thinking that the president could have allowed the old Naira notes to run simultaneously with the new ones, at least for the 60 days, not limiting it to the 200 Naira notes. So the speech he made, he was able to tell us his feelings and to tell us that he knew the problems of the masses and the country, but the problem is not solved.
Okay, so you feel that just the 200 Naira note is not enough, that he would have actually allowed the use of both the 500 and 1,000 Naira notes until the 10th of April?
Yes, that was that was what I was thinking that he could have done. And if he had done that, you see that people will be relieved of all these problems, because these problems have started for a very long time now. People, since they said 31st January, this money will cease. And close to the 31st January, people were suffering because people paid money into the bank, all the old notes, and they don't have money. The new notes were not forthcoming. So when he extended by 1 week, still there wasn't, they virtually
You know,
did
the last
nothing.
time you came here, you were in the support of the extension, the initial extension. You said because we have some reasons why they decided to go for the redesigning of the currency, that there wasn't, you weren't seeing any point for them to extend. Rather, all they should have done is to make sure that the new Naira notes go into circulation.
Thank you very, very much. There couldn't have been any need for the extension if it was properly planned. When they print the new Naira notes and they are distributing it, give it to the banks. If you go to the bank, you access money. If you go to the bank, you access money. You know, you go to the POS, you access money. But this time is that they limited it to the POS. It's only the ATMs that you go and pick money. And the money the people were picking were, I think some banks, they pay 5,000 Naira. You know, so it was as bad as that. And people will pay in the old notes and go to the bank, they don't access any money. You leave the bank, after paying in your money, you leave the bank and come to queue in the ATM. And most of these our people are, you know, they don't have the ATM. Even most of the people that have an account in the bank, in the banks, don't have ATM. There are millions of them in Nigeria. So how do they access money? That was the hardship we started to encounter. So if they had printed money and if they were paying it over the counter to the, you know, in the commercial banks and picking from the POS, so by now we won't have any issue. And within the deadline, nobody will be complaining. But once there is no money, they were not giving, banks don't have money because they were claiming they give money to the banks, commercial banks, but it is not true. As a financial expert, on my own, I did investigations. There was a branch of a bank that said that from the inception of this program, that they were only given 3 million Naira. A branch of a bank, 3 million Naira. And the ATM at 500 Naira, you know, one ATM can take as much as 5 million, one ATM machine. And if you go to most of these branches, they have them 10, they have them 8, 5, and so on. So you see that the money wasn't enough. So that was why they decided to extend by 1 week. And if you are extending, what are you extending for? The money is not there. You are not bringing any new money. And you are extending. Extending to do what? So these are, you know, I think the planning was so, it was a planless program. They didn't plan well. And that is why we are still rising and falling. Even what the president said yesterday has not added is not adding any relief to anybody. Because originally people were still using the old notes, you know, even before now. Because the case was, the case is in Supreme Court. And people were hoping on the Supreme Court issue. And we are still taking 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira. But now that the president has overruled, so to say, he overruled the Supreme Court. So let's watch and see what is going to be. For a president to overrule the highest court in the land.
Yeah, that's another question I had wanted to ask you about the Supreme Court overruling it. Now, some people, at least I can pinpoint a senior advocate of Nigeria, Ebun Olu Adegboroye or something. That's his name. He was actually saying that this is a president flouting the principles of separation of power. So
certainly it is. It is never done anywhere. It's never done anywhere in the world. A case that is before the highest court of the land, and they are still looking at it. They adjourned the matter to Wednesday next week. They are still looking at it. And the president woke up and began to do announcement and to say, this one will be in circulation, this one will not be, and all that and all that. It's abuse of court process. It is a, that is a autocratic rule. It's autocratic rule. It's not, there is no form of democracy in what he did. He should allow the court to do their thing. He's not the court. He doesn't have the power over the court. Supposing the court says otherwise now, what it will mean is that there will be crisis everywhere, which we have not, we are praying it will not happen. But the way things are going, the president, we just have to be careful.
And we are looking at heading for the polls on the 25th. That's next Saturday, because it's just 8 days to go, going for us to elect a new president and all that. So do you see all those things happening as a means of, distracting Nigerians from, the most important thing in our lives now, which is heading for the polls? And just like you said that there could be crisis. Do you see this as something that might hamper the election?
Thank you very much. To a large extent, it will not hamper the election because the masses, people are zealous to go and do their vote, to vote, so that a better person could come in, Nigerians are tired. For over about 8 years now, these things has been happening. If we don't talk of Boko Haram, we talk of this, we talk of that, But now people want to go and do their voting. At least put in somebody that we consider to be a better person, somebody that has vision, that can add one and two together. So it will certainly, it can be an obstacle, but people will certainly go out to vote.
Now you're talking about the electorate. What about the electoral umpire? Remember that at the beginning of the week, they made mention that this cash crunch could also, affect the election because they need cash to fuel the cars they're going to use to transport some of the materials to the polling units and all that. They need to pay their personnel. They need cash to do a whole lot of things. So you've talked about the electorate. Yes, I'm ready. I know you are ready, and most people listening to us are ready. What about the electoral umpire? Are they really ready with the situation on ground?
Okay, I think the electoral umpire, they have seen this scenario for about a month now. So they have to get prepared. We are saying that we do electronic transfers and the online banking and all that. So they have to manage with it. Whichever way they want to do it, they have to manage with it. It must not be cash. There are certain transactions, there are certain things they do which will not make them to touch cash. And the INEC is a kind of enlightened
okay.
office.
Can you hold your thoughts? Let's know who we have here. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Please lower the volume of your television set.
This is Wisdom calling from Anambra State. Okay. Hello?
Wisdom, lower the volume on your TV set, please, so that we can hear you properly.
Okay.
Okay, Wisdom, are you still there?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Talk to us.
Okay. This issue on ground, this new node or old node issue, the thing becomes something else. In my house right now, we are having issues. Don't that we don't have money. We have money in the bank, and we don't have access to it. You understand? So please, Mr. President, look into this very well. Not if you are a leader for people, not to suffer them, is to rule them so tomorrow they will remember you as a good person. But this record that they are setting is very bad. We are so tired of all this kind of things.
So what
they are doing, they should plan it well before doing.
Okay, so what will you suggest that the president do now?
Yeah.
Are you there, Wisdom?
I'm with you.
So I'm asking you, if you are to advise the president now, what will your advice be on this cash swap?
They should assess on the cost issue. They think they should be spending the old money and at the same time the new one is entering, so that there will not be scarcity of money.
Okay.
The only thing that there will be any time that the new money circulates, then they can be able to seize the old one.
All right, thank you so much, Wisdom. Thank you for calling us this morning. Have a nice day. Now, just like Wisdom is saying that he thinks that you also mentioned that he thinks that they should have allowed all the Naira, both the old one and the new one, to be circulating at the same time until we get to a time where the old one will gradually phase out, or giving all of them the 60 days window. But remember that there were points or reasons why they actually decided to go for this Naira redesign. Now, even in the president's speech yesterday, he made mention that this could be a legacy kind of weapon against corruption, against vote buying, and against banditry and kidnapping in the country. These are, and many more, are some of the reasons why they decided to go for this Naira redesign. Now, if the president or the Supreme Court now rules that, yes, the 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes should come back into circulation, don't you think that the aim of all this process will be defeated?
Thank you very much. The aim will certainly not be defeated, because the central bank has already made a gross mistake. The gross mistake in the sense that they have not printed enough new notes that will get to the people. And there is no way people will move around without having money. Even when you have money in the bank and you can't access it, it is so terrible. Now, allow the old and the new to fly until maybe the 10th of that April. By then, the CBN must have printed more new Naira notes, and the old one will fizzle away. And that is what they could have done ab initio. They could have printed enough money. As you're coming to the bank, you pay in your money, pick the new one and go. Within the 1 month window, nobody will be complaining. But if you don't have money and you're saying this one will happen, you say 200 Naira will come back, the other one will not be there, he's just creating more problems. And for him to have a script of, after reading the script of, the essence of doing this is to stop Boko Haram, stop this and stop that and stop that. Over the years, Boko Haram has not been stopped. It is because he's printing new Naira notes. That is why Boko Haram will stop. That is why kidnapping will stop. That is why the kidnapping of train passengers will stop. It is not true. It's just a script that they wrote and read, to make people feel that something is happening. But it is out of order. It is not in order. What the masses need is that let us have this money, let us access our money, and buy more food to eat.
Okay.
As simple
Now,
as that.
another question I want to ask, must we have physical cash for us to transact, do businesses, and buy food to eat? Remember I asked you a question about this cash crunch having effect on the election. You said no, that they can use other means of transferring money, that's e-transfers and all that, and get all that they need for the election. Money, that's e-transfers and all that, and get all that they need for the election. Now, as citizens of the country, can't we also use those means and that businesses? I mean, if you want to buy something, you transfer to someone. If you want to eat, after eating, you probably use your ATM card and transfer. Can't we go cashless? If the electoral can do that.
On the side of electoral, remember I didn't include before.
Okay, go ahead.
The electoral umpire is a kind of, it's more of a more civilized. They can work on electronic or electronic transfer more than the village people, because the local people, some of them don't have bank accounts, some of them don't have ATM cards. The electoral umpire can, if he's transferring money to any officer within one state or the other, it could go that way. So and they can do it even from the bank. You go to the bank and do the transfer. I mean the INEC, they can do that within the banks and it will flow. But the masses, most of them don't have access to most of these things we call electronic transfer. They don't have it. Some people don't have ATM cards. Some people don't have bank accounts in their millions. So how do they function? And now, as we are talking, if you want to do some transfers, they don't go through, because everywhere is congested. You can't do transfers now because of congestion of the network.
I understand.
Network is highly congested.
I really understand what
and
you're
that money
saying.
is hanging here and there. They don't move.
I really understand
but
what you're
they
saying.
are the INEC. Basically, what I'm saying is that it is not enough to stop them from holding election. It's not enough to stop them from holding an election, because they can do their transfer through the banks. Because anything they do now will create more crisis. If we are talking of this cash, scarcity of cash from the CBN, and we're talking of fuel scarcity, and we're talking of election issue, possibly shifting the date, or extending it and doing one funny thing or the other, it portends a lot of danger for the country.
You know, I don't know if you've visited the banks lately. You understand that a whole lot of people, they have realized the importance of opening bank accounts. If you go to banks now, the crowd that you are seeing are just there at the customer care where they want to open an account, where they want to access the ATM cards, and probably where they want them to, you know, help them with the USSD code that you can use for transfers. So it's no longer, it must be an Android phone. You can use your small button phone and do transfer on all that. And this policy, this cashless policy, it has been on for a long time. I mean, the CBN has been sounding that for as far back as 2012. I've been hearing about cashless policy, and people have been doing their transaction via their phones, e-transfers and all that, and with the introduction of the e-money and e-Naira and all that. But now the question is, does it mean that Nigerians, we always wait for when things like this happen for us to, you know, do it at the 11th hour? Because I know that there are some people that they have enough money and they know the importance of using ATM cards, they know the importance of, you know, the e-transfer and all that, but they didn't want to do that until now. If you go to the bank, you see them flooded. What actually is the problem? Is it that the policy, the cashless policy, monetary policy, that some people didn't really understand it very well? It wasn't pushed very well by the CBN and commercial bank? Or is it that we are adamant and we decided not to do that? After all, we can always have cash, and this happened.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's not. It is true. People are going to the banks now, but whenever you're doing any policy, coming out with any policy, you know, you look at the environment, look at the people, their level of civilization, level of education and all that. It is when you look at that, when you want to do a policy, the policy will not come in one fell swoop. You don't just come and begin to do a policy. You bring it and say these things must be done within 1 month, within 2 months. No. You give an ample time so that the people who will learn it can learn it. But by the time they go into this e-banking and electronic banking, they will take time to know it. But if you come and say everybody within 1 month, within 2 months, everything is electronic banking, people can go and open an account, and you still see that they can function. People can get that phone and get everything, and you see that they cannot function. You know, because, for instance, there are some areas in Nigeria today, some towns, some states in Nigeria, where you go and you have bank in 3 local governments out of the maybe 17, 21 and all that. You have banks in 4 local governments. You know, so these issues are not close to the people. This civilization, this enlightenment of electronic banking, it is not close to the people. Many of our people are in the farms. You know, so it's not something you just come and say, you do transaction with your phone, USSD, or e-business, and so on. So you take time. For instance, Soludo I think he did, former CBN governor, he did there are certain things he did about, e-banking. So, and it flowed, it was over a time. Then another central bank governor, Sanusi Lamido, he came up with another cashless. He said, one person, an individual, single obligor, we will take 150,000 over the counter. An individual that has account, we take 500,000. A corporate body will take 3 million per day. So you give some window so that people can function. Not when you come and say everything has gone electronics. So, and that is why we're having what we're having. Everything is congested. We are battling with the electronic transaction. We are battling with fuel scarcity. We are battling with so many things. I'm battling with the scarcity of money. So for God's sake, the CBN should allow this money to flow so that people will have some ease. So that people are being pushed to the wall. That's what I just want to say. And I want to add that every solution, every issue in Nigeria, as far as this government is concerned, has gotten to alarming proportion. Why is it that whatever policy this present government has gone to, is having this problem? He talked about fuel subsidy. Look at what we are passing through. A liter of fuel at 500 naira and more in some places. Look at the issue of train passengers being kidnapped here and there. Look at Boko Haram. He never ceased over the 8 years now. And so on and so on and so on. Chibok girls, some of them are still there in the bush. So why should this government, everything they touch is a problem. Everything they touch is a problem. Now that the president is even leaving office in a matter of days, we are still having this problem. What legacy is he going to leave for the for the people?
Let's still focus on the topic we are looking at. Let's not overstretch this.
Thank you.
In his speech, he actually mentioned that gains have emerged from this monetary policy. I mean, this redesign and all that. He mentioned a whole lot, but I want us to talk about the one he said that it has lowered inflation in our country. Now, as a financial expert at the building this morning, when it comes to inflation, where are we as a nation, Nigeria?
The inflation he's talking about lowering, I don't know where he's getting his figures and what lowers the inflation. Lowering inflation is good, but inflation is still at 21%. Let me put it like that. Inflation is still at 21%. Inflation that was some time ago, it was about 12%, and we are complaining and shouting. It's at 21%, and somebody is saying that because we have cash crisis everywhere, that it has lowered it. Has it lowered it to what extent?
And has also stabilized the exchange rate.
And stabilizing the exchange rate, to what level? Exchange rate was about 195 naira before. It's stabilizing at 740 naira.
It's coming down.
It's coming down. So what are we talking about? Is it going to come down to what level before he leaves office in the next 3 months? So those things it does not add up. Those things are things somebody will talk so that he will maybe for people to feel that something is happening, but actually nothing is happening. People are dying. People are staying in the queue in the banks and slumping and dying. People don't have money to buy food. They can't even access the money. So that the inflation is coming down. Inflation is exchange rate is coming down. Is to what extent? If Naira the dollar drops by $1, in 3 months or 4 months, and we say it's coming down, it's not coming down, appropriately, proportionately. It's not supposed even to have gone to that extent, because it is within the same regime that the thing flew from 195 naira to 780, 800 naira per dollar. And inflation went up to 21%, you know, and they're telling us it's coming down. It's not coming down or anything, because it might come down today and tomorrow it will shoot up.
Okay.
So for us to say it's coming down, it's something that will happen over time. You know, we say within a quarter.
He made mention that there are long-term and short-term, you know, gains. So let's categorize this one under the long-term gain, because it's still going down. So let's believe that with time, it's going to come to a certain amount that we'll be comfortable with, because he made mention of the long-term. And then talking about the short-term gains, he talked about that the issue of vote buying. And now on all the papers we are seeing where PDP are accusing the APC that they should stop crying foul, they need to release the old Naira notes in their coffers. So what do you make out of that statement?
Thank you very much, my sister. You see, Nigerians is that when something is happening, we begin to talk of frivolities, something we shouldn't even talk about. You know, for APC and PDP to be trading words of vote buying or not vote buying. What happens is that this is a system, this is a country. Like some of them, we are even talking of people, you know, packing money in their houses. These are issues we hear in Nigeria. But we have the law court, like what some of the governors have done to take this matter of cash, Naira issue to the court. If you feel that somebody has stacked money in his house, if it is illegal, the federal government has the right to take that person to court, challenge that person to court, and that person will be penalized. But if it is not an illegal issue, why keep saying it and nothing is being done? You know. So the same thing on the scarcity of cash and vote buying by whether PDP accusing APC and all that. That is just political jargon and political, because if it is an issue, get one or two people that are doing the vote buying, take them to court and they will be penalized and it will stop. So those things they are talking, I don't think it's not matured way of politicking. They should be telling us about their manifesto. This is what we do to win the election. And if we win, these are the things we will do for the country. These are the things we're supposed to be hearing. Not to be talking about village women that vote buying. APC is vote buying. PDP is vote buying. We don't supposed to be talking. It's not matured at all. Those things they're saying is not civil. They are not civilized in what they're saying. They should be telling us what we will hear. And people shouldn't be telling us money is being stacked the other place. If money is stacked and you know about it, there is this whistle blowing. Go to the court. Tell EFCC. And EFCC will go to the court and get that person. And the person will tell us why he's stacking money. Otherwise, we should do what we should do as a government. Government is not about the ones that conforms with the norms and the ones that does not conform. Why is it that we don't hear it from America? We don't hear all these things from Britain, even Ghana here that is close by. So our people should be more civilized. This is politics, and we're not. Okay. We don't need to keep playing village politics.
Now, still on the issue of vote buying, of course, we have barely 8 days to go. Do you feel that with this new policy that this particular election, the vote buying is going to be reduced to the barest minimum?
Certainly. Let me say one thing about vote buying.
Okay.
In the election, there are people, maybe you want to do one thing or the other for you, because I think that is what our people are calling vote buying. And when they're going to do those things for you, those people must be mobilized. There must not be people from the INEC, party officials. You have a party, somebody contesting for maybe a Senate position, maybe in Anambra State. This person that is contesting for Senate position in Anambra State has people working on for him or her. And because these people are working, those people has to be paid. They have to be mobilized. And when they are mobilized, it's money that we use to, the person will use to mobilize them. So, but any other thing that person does to get what that person wants, that is what they call vote buying. To a large extent, it is not vote buying. If it is vote buying, so to say.
I understand what you're saying about that. But what about the one that you see party agents and the polling units trying to coerce electorate to sell their vote, to tell you that you vote for a certain person?
I will
give you some of money. I mean, that's a form of vote buying.
It's a form of vote buying. I agree. But it is the system, it is the federal government and INEC. It's because INEC has not done enough. That is why those things are happening. Because you can't go to the polling, when you say at the polling, you don't wear your party regalia there, and it's being obeyed. You don't do this one, and it's being obeyed. Now, people are selling money in the polling booths and polling units, and INEC sees it and is not doing anything, and they are saying it. What they should do is that anybody that does it should be arrested. Anybody that does it should, and if it is done in 2-3 places in Nigeria, those things will stop, and people will go to prison. So, but with the cash scarcity around us now, certainly it will be minimized. It will certainly be minimized because that money is not there, to be given. But what they do sometimes is they will tell you, we will transfer this money to your account, bring your account numbers, and they will line the account numbers. Would
that one work?
That is
it will be cumbersome.
So eventually the money will be transferred to the account. So, but it's the INEC and the federal government have to work on it. If they see it as a serious issue, serious offense, they have to get 1 or 2 politicians that are doing it and punish them, and these things will stop.
Okay, we are still here looking at the President Buhari's speech on the Naira swap, and right now we want to bring what people have to say, some of the people that we interviewed, their experiences so far on the cash swap. Let's hear them.
If you don't have the new note, there's no way those who will understand, like who ought to understand the hardship you have been passing through, would accept the old one you have. Like now I'm coming from the court. The tricyclists I tried to board to get to where I can get other vehicles going to my office. Refused. He said that the CBN said this, they said that. To me, I can cope, but how much more of other indigent people that cannot even say how they feel about it?
I went to the bank now, the commercial bank here. They said I should go to CBN. Say, I don't know what they mean by asking me to go to CBN to deposit my old note. Money you have, you can't have access to it. What is the meaning? Well, they say it's for good, but it's not easy. It's seriously hard on people. Everybody is suffering, but they say it's for good. If it is for good, good.
You can deposit through the POS or through the bank. You can go straight to the bank to deposit, or you can make a transfer to somebody that can take it to the bank for you. So it's terrible, very, very terrible. Because right now, somebody like me, I still have some old notes with me. The problem is that they are talking about the new note, but the new note is not circulating. It's not really circulating. Like right now, the POS, they're still giving us old money. And they still gave us a rule that we should stop using it. So it's difficult. I couldn't even take keke from where I was coming from to this place. I'm stranded like this now, so it's terrible.
All right, you're welcome back to the show. We've heard people's opinion on the cash swap and how, in fact, almost all of them that talked there said their kind of frustrated and stranded. The last girl said that she's stranded because she came to withdraw money from the POS, but she didn't get any money. And then again, the second man that talked said that he went to the bank to deposit some old Naira notes. That is after the 10th of February deadline, and he was asked to go to the CBN to do that. And we know that CBN brought out initially guidelines of how you can come and deposit those cash, in the banks. Even this morning I saw on the social media where a man was carrying like how many bags of old Naira currency heading to the CBN to go and deposit and all that. I mean, it's some people said that the process is so much for them. Just like you said, some of these people are not learned. They can't even access the internet for them to go online and fill the form and all that. So how do they go about depositing their old currency? Yes, I know that the deadline was on 10th of February, but some people, because of what the Supreme Court said, some people felt that, yeah, we can go on and transact, do businesses with this. But as it sees now, 500 and 1,000 Naira has lost its status at the legal tender. So how would the people go about, people that still have huge sum of money, go about to deposit their money in the Apes Bank?
Thank you very much. Yes, the CBN has said 10th February you start coming to the office to deposit. And that is what we are seeing today. So that is why people are complaining. If they had given much more window for people to deposit that money in the bank, it could have been a better option. I think I was thinking the president could have included it in his speech. But be it as it may, what people should do is when they get the old notes and go to the CBN, it will be swapped. Certainly, I know they do it. It is an old policy of CBN, not from now.
Yes.
For so many years now. So if you get an old note, even though you want to pick a new what we call mint, new money, and you have your old note, you have the bad notes. If you go to the CBN, they will change it, they will swap it for you. So sometimes, just maybe slightly differently, sometimes all these things that they accuse commercial banks of are not what the commercial banks are doing. This cash swap happens in CBN. If you are related to the CBN, get there, you will be identified, and you carry your money anytime, any day, you go there, the money will be swapped for you. It's a long time issue. It's a part of the policy of the CBN. So presently, what people should do is, if they are not taking it and you can't access money, if you don't have any other money, what you do is to take out time, get to the CBN. But the issue is that around here, how many states have the CBN around here? And in Anambra, we have it in Oka. And somebody will travel from Aguleri or more to come to Oka to change maybe 10,000 Naira, with all these hazards we are having. My appeal is that, but and my advice is that they should do it. Let them try and do it. While we'll be begging the CBN to extend the time. Let the masses pay this money to the central banks. That is my candid advice, that people are passing through hell.
Okay, thank you for that submission. And again, one of the critical points underpinning the policy of the new Naira redesign is actually the need to restore the statutory ability of the CBN to keep firm control over the money in circulation. We all heard that that's one of the reasons. I think I just want us to go back a little bit to the reason why they are doing this redesign. Now, they said it's for them to have control over the money that is being circulating, because between some time 2012 and 2018 and 2022, they now projected that about some huge amount of money was in circulation. It was just outside the bank vault. It wasn't in the bank vault. Now, the question is, does it mean that it's now difficult for the CBN to control the flow of cash out from their coffers to the public?
Yeah.
Or now, another question is, if actually this is the case, and they brought about this policy to make sure that they regulate the flow of Naira or the money that goes out, and people trade with it, do businesses with it, and we still come back to their coffers. Now, is it going to be sustained? Or anytime we have so much money outside the bank book, we come up with a new policy? That's the question.
Thank you very much. I think the CBN, what they said is okay, but it's not realizable. It's not realizable. It is okay, but it's not realizable. What the CBN does is that you get the reports of the money that is in circulation through the commercial banks, through the microfinance banks and finance houses. You'll be getting this report possibly quarterly. In a year, you'll be able to know the amount of money that is in circulation. 2 years, you will know that. But the other thing the CBN has to do is that there must be a punishment for, perceived dumping of money in people's houses. Okay. There must be a punishment. That is how to regulate it. If you don't have a punishment for dumping of money in people's houses, after doing this thing, all these big men will be collecting this money gradually and be dumping. Sensitize people. Go out and sensitize people on why they should spend the money they have, on the need not to dump money in their houses. The irony of what is happening now is that when CBN started all these things, it was only the elites that knew that they were going to be this currency design. I was surprised that it was about a week to start the currency, to distribute the money, to push the money out. It was about a week that CBN distributed flyers to churches. And when they distributed those flyers, they went away. They gave it to the pastors to talk. So what will the pastor talk? Our pastor was showing people, this is what they said, CBN said, though. They go to some other places like eateries. They came to Ekweme Square and they displayed the banners and this and say.
So you mean that there wasn't enough sensitization?
There wasn't enough awareness.
Mm.
So the CBN has to be creating the awareness from time to time, especially in the villages, because those are the areas where people need to know that this thing is coming up, or this is what we should do. It's not only coming to the towns and distribute banners and go to church and distribute banners and all that and go away. That is why it looked as if it took people unawares. And again, they were not equally prepared. After doing all they did, if they were prepared and pushed out this money, people wouldn't have to be in the predicament in which we are now.
Okay. The president also said in his speech that he has directed the CBN to work with anti-graft agencies to, prosecute people that will be found wanting. I mean, people that are impeding the implementation process of this policy. Now, to what extent would this help us when we are talking about, having enough money to circulate and also making sure that this policy achieves the desired aim for which it was actually created in the first place?
Thank you very much. If the CBN starts now, to get people, to punish people, if they really, committed any issue, if they really has any issue, if they start to punish and they have proof, because it is the court, when they get to the court, they will say, this is an offense this person has committed. If the CBN, if they do it, before you know it, when they punish 1 or 2, 3 people will stop it. Mm. But I want to tell you that it is an issue that is coming. What they are saying, what they have said, CBN do this and do that, is an issue that is coming too late. Okay. Because the policy already has failed. It's a failed policy. From what we are seeing now is that it has failed. So whatever magic they are going to do, let them do it so that people will come back to life. because the policy of Naira design and the distribution has failed Nigerians, and we are suffering. And if nothing is done as quickly as possible, something will happen.
Something like what? Because I wanted to ask you if, just like you're saying that the policy, it's dead on arrival, so to say, but if this is not arrested as it's supposed to be, so what will happen to us as a nation?
I will just say maybe one or two. The rest will be left for Nigerians to decide. One is that Labour has given a warning that they will go to the streets if this issue is not, the TUC. I'm sure most of us heard them talking last week that they will take to the streets. They will go call on strike action, and so that is one. And another one is that when there is strike action, a lot of things will be coming about. People will capitalize on it and begin to do unfriendly things, because people are suffering. People are suffering. The lady that talked in the television, he said it is a terrible situation, that she could not move from where she was standing because she was helpless. So it's as bad as that.
So all we need to do is to keep our fingers crossed and wait that there won't be crisis, just like you envisaged earlier, because of the Supreme Court ruling and all that. But on the papers, we also saw that Emefiele, he met with the bank chiefs of the commercial banks, and they have issued out a directive that they should start paying the old 200 Naira notes. Though you said it's not going to be enough, but to some extent, it's going to relieve of all the stress we've been passing through for the past few weeks.
Yes, certainly. And Emefiele, the CBN governor, going to the bank chiefs now is something, is good. But before even going to this redesigning of money, these bank chiefs supposed to have been met. The finance minister supposed to be part of it. The stakeholders supposed to be there, because Emefiele is not all-knowing. As far as banking is concerned, Emefiele is not all-knowing. These bank chiefs will advise him. These are the ways we can go. After presenting their views and advice, then choose the best one to go for. Not himself taking the decision with the president, who let me not go too far. It's not a decision it's not supposed to be a decision of the president. President is not supposed to be talking on this matter. It's the CBN that we're supposed to be hearing, not the president. Otherwise, there might be catastrophe.
Well, at the end of his speech, he actually said that we all should remember that we are heading for the polls on the 25th of February and the 11th of March. So he's, encouraging every Nigerian to go there and cast their vote and stay away from violence, and also vote buying and everything, all the malpractices that always mar elections. So that's the words of the president of our nation.
Thank you. And even though he didn't say it, Nigerians
are ready,
are eager to go to make sure that this government leaves office.
Okay.
Nigerians are eager to make sure that this government leaves office.
Well,
because we have suffered enough.
Well, that's it on this show. Just like you've heard, that was a last statement of the president, that we all should go out, dust up our PVCs and make sure that we cast our vote on the 25th of March 2023 for where we'll all go out and elect the new president, the person that will lead us in the next 4 years in the country. So amid all these things going around, the crisis, the cash swap, the cash crunch, the scarcity of Naira, scarcity of PMS and all that, we all need to, go out and elect a new leader that probably could make things work for better in our country, Nigeria. On that note, we want to say a very big thank you to you, Chief Mike Odumodu, yes, for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you very much. I want to advise our viewers, go out and vote wisely. Vote for a visionary leader, because we have seen Nigeria over the years. We want new people to go there.
All right.
And, make sure you don't engage in violence. We should not engage in violence. It's a gradual thing. Nigeria is developing.
All right. So we want to say thank you to you for joining us on the show this morning. You fans that watched the show, thank you so much for being there. It's Friday and we wish you a blessed weekend. My name is Chidima Oramwa. See you again next week. Bye.